Around 5 years ago, lifting some light weights in my bedroom, I looked in my mirror and said, I'm going for it. And ever since, I have trained consistently and stuffed my face full of food, all in order to transform my body and go from skinny to muscular. And I am happy with the progress that I made. But those 5 years weren't always plain sailing, often the opposite. There were many roadblocks and issues I had to face, and many things that I figured out later on that I wish I'd knew sooner. So if I could tell my 16-year-old self some tips on how to make more progress over the coming years, what would they be? You may want to note some of these down, as many of these may apply to you too. Firstly, I would tell myself to get a gym membership as soon as possible. Working out at home has never really cut it for me, due to a lack of equipment and distractions. If you have the gym equipment and self-discipline to work out at home, then by all means do it. But for me, I found that going to the gym and being fully focused and locked in made a massive difference to how hard I could work out, and subsequently the progress that I made. Secondly, food can often be more important than training when trying to build muscle for the first time. Making sure you are consuming big amounts of protein and ensuring that you get the right amount of calories in should be your priority when wanting to bulk up and gain more muscle. And if you are in the first year of your training, you will most likely get much more muscle through newbie gains too. So focusing on upping your intake could enhance that even more. Thirdly would be tracking my sets, as later on this made sure that I was effectively using progressive overloads and doing sufficient work in the gym in order to develop and build up my muscles. This would have avoided the frequent times when I would just walk into the gym and then choose a random machine to work out on, with no idea of how much I could do on it. Tracking your sets and the weights that you've done will really help you next session in knowing what to push for. On tip number 4 is to focus more on the contraction of my muscles and slowing some of the movements down in order to activate the targeted muscle properly. And alongside this too, work more with lower weight until I've perfected my form. This would have helped me save a lot of time, would have probably built a better foundation for my muscles, and probably would have stopped little pains and injuries that I had early on in my journey that were caused from me trying to drag myself through heavy weighted sets that I really wasn't ready for yet. Number 5 would be to not put too much focus on my results in the mirror in the first weeks and months, as I had times around 16 years old when I went on and off the idea of training, as I expected to see physical changes much quicker. And it's very easy to become demotivated by the lack of results on the start of any journey. Just focus on progressing every session and keep consistent and dedicated, and you'll soon end up seeing results. And the final point is to educate yourself as early as possible on how to train your different muscle groups effectively and with the correct form by looking it up and watching YouTube videos, as nailing down this as soon as possible is going to get you much more results further down the line. And you can actually do that step right now by watching this playlist I created on how I transformed many of my muscle groups by making some small changes in how I train them.